righty. Welcome. How's it going?
It's going. Oh,
Life is good. So, Chaz Hickcox, founder of Crossbone Outfitters and owner of Crossed Industries, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Um, so I didn't really realize it until I saw your website that you're an Arizona boy,
Yeah.
correct? Where did you grow up?
Cave Creek.
No kidding. Nice place. I like Cave Creek. I'm in
Yeah.
Goodyear.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Cave Creek's a lot different now than it was then.
Yeah, I imagine it is. They've gotten very artsy up there. I suppose they always have been, but yeah. So, but that's really awesome. I saw. Hey, Ralph, how you doing? I saw Lake Pleasant, which is just a little north of me, Bartlett Lake, that I haven't gone to yet, but I've fished out of. They call it Gold Canyon Lake, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when I was fishing there, they were telling me, "Oh, you got to try Bartlett Lake. It's gorgeous." So, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So let's get into the question and answers portion of the event today. Ralph here has been enjoying a lot of individualized coaching for the stuff that he's been doing. Oh, cool! And Rob is here today. Awesome. Up, Chaz sits up straighter. That's awesome. Um, so let's start out a little bit just by like coming up to speed with, hey Rob, how's it going?
Really good. Excited to talk to Chaz.
What's going on, Rob?
He saw your screen enter the room and he sat up straighter. I'm laughing my butt out here.
Actually, it was more for Ralph. I've been leaning in to figure out what his questions are. So
yeah. So yeah, Ralph, you want to bring Chaz a little bit up to speed with the project that you're working on, and any questions that you might have based on this morning's recorded interview.
Okay, sorry, I'm just.
Of course. Can you tell I was once a waitress?
But so when you started your business process, right? It looked like it was a hobby, then you turned it into a business.
yeah.
Like for me, people are kind of gearing me about resume writing, right? Low overhead, just my time, internet, and a Word document.
Right.
I'm just wondering, like, how'd you get to that process where you decided, okay, let me be persistent at this, and then how'd you keep going at that? Even I know a lot of businesses will fail, right? But failure is where it's like a lesson each time. How do you keep going besides persistence?
So you're asking like when things kind of blow up in your face and you have to
exactly
go on past that. Pretty much just try something new. I try it from a different angle. I mean, really is you have to have the mindset that you wanted to do this in the first place, right? So because one of your aspects failed, one of your ideas didn't work out, that's okay. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. It sucks. You probably, invested time, energy, maybe money into whatever that idea was. If it doesn't work out, if you are you and you keep presenting your knowledge based on what it is that you're doing, so you're talking about resume writing, you know how to do that, if it doesn't work out for you, I don't know anything about resume writing, so I really can't speak to that. But I can speak to, at times when, partnerships blew up in my face, right? And people were calling me every name under the sun because, X, Y, or Z. All I had to do was just maintain the fact that I have integrity. I'm just me. Don't get involved with the pettiness, and go forward and just continue being me. And people will see through all the other bull that's going on. And that's really the hard part. Or where, in times when things just really seem like they're going downhill, you have to take a step back and do an inventory on what it is that you're doing that's working, what it is that you're doing that's not working, right? And why is it going downhill? What did you do? If something's blowing up in your face, that means that you were succeeding enough for it to actually start to bubble a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what success did you have to get to that point?
So, I mean, it wasn't me really getting paid, but the supervisor with the federal government,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted their contractors to become federal employees. And they would always come to me because I knew how to work the system on the resumes to get those keywords in there. And so far, 7 of 7 got them, they're all federal employees now. And then only one of them was a veteran, right? So, and in the government, if you're a veteran, you have a preference. 6 of them were civilians. So they're always, the straight civilians always, they look at them last besides the veterans, after the veterans. But my success rate has been, 7 out of 7, with just one being a veteran. And just lately, another person asked me to do another federal resume because all her coworkers said, "Go ask Ralph," because he did our resumes. So, but I never looked at it as a paying, a getting paid type of thing. I just enjoyed helping people out.
Right. But you obviously got your hits. I can hear them in the background. And you have, other things that, deserve your time. So if you're going to take your time away for somebody else's professional success, why wouldn't you get paid?
I guess it's just my personality. I don't.
Ralph, in the place that you were in when your federal supervisor asked you to do those things for those people to transfer them from contractor to employee, you were fulfilling the function of the job, the orders that your boss gave you, correct?
Yes, as a favor.
Doesn't matter if it was as a favor. You were on the clock, right?
Yes.
You've already been paid for doing resumes. Now it's just a matter of collecting it yourself.
Okay, I never thought about that, but
total mind shift.
So, if I could
Please.
tune in real quick. So I've worked with Ralph in the reserves. He was my chief master sergeant in my unit, and I've worked with him on the business side of the house. So he's come a long way from when he first reached out to me and just said, "Oh, hey, I'm doing this little thing with resumes. Do you think I could possibly charge for this one day?" And then I just started sending him people. He's already had. How many prospects have you had, Ralph? Not just sales, but just prospects, people that have reached out to you now since we've been doing stuff.
like 4 or 5 in the last month.
Yeah, that's great. And that's me not trying. Like that's me doing the bare minimum. So if you're at that point where you're ready, we're gonna bump it up. So don't even worry, man. I'll put you on the queue and we're gonna make that process happen. So this question's for Chaz. So Chaz, I've known you for a while. We've had a lot of calls. Now, if I remember right, your business model was starting off with the fishing side of the house, and then you transitioned upward into the higher price performance truck parts, right?
Yeah, truck and boat accessories. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now, was your marketing strategy for a goods-based business, and you can keep this as proprietary as you want to,
Mhm.
but was your marketing strategy just Facebook ads and like Google search terms, or how did you grow the company to get these organic sales? Because I know you don't do interviews very much.
Well, I don't do interviews now very much just because I really don't have a whole lot of time. Which that's going to change soon. So retirement's just down the road. But pretty much a lot of it had to do with growing things organically on social media, doing a lot of work on social media. You know, every time I go out for a smoke break from the office, doing something on social media, doing something with the Facebook page. And staying engaged. A lot of stuff that I learned in the Warrior Council.
You're bubbling a little bit there, Chaz. Come back.
Tribe. Make sure I got everybody.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about the Warrior Council, Chaz.
Yeah, for some reason my internet connection is not the funnest right now. So, anyway, stuff I learned from the Warrior Council, from the Pepper Tribe, from you, from Steve Coons in the Warrior Council. It all had to do with, having that engaged audience within there. And then I also talked about it in the morning thing with Gayle, that video this morning, where I have that big group of micro influencers, and that's a huge piece of it too. Which is really unique for the fishing industry, fishing, racing, and you find it somewhat in rodeo as well. And it's hard to describe because you don't really see it in any other sporting type industry. So it's kind of a big thing. And that's how a lot of organic word gets out about your company. Now, I did a lot of big pushes last year, trying to grow the company, which was great, and it worked out in January and February. And we went to February, January grew, and then February just exploded, and then March happened.
Yeah,
and we all know what happened in March, right? So it didn't absolutely tank, but it just went down because obviously, the world events didn't help out. When everybody realized that world events weren't going to kill everything, then we went back up and kind of stabilized for the rest of the year. And then, we had a really good year. But I kept pushing in, trying to grow with different marketing, advertising companies and stuff like that I was paying. And that was a mistake. That was something that, because I'd already had such success with my own organic stuff and my own use of Facebook ads and my own use of all that other stuff, looking back on it now, it would have been better and more profitable to me to not even attempt that growth at that point in time. So, I mean, going back to your original question on how did I build that growth, a lot of word of mouth, a lot of being engaged with the professional tournament scenes, professional tournament mantras, the fact that my truck and boat are both wrapped, that actually does a pretty big deal. I mean, I traveled all over Florida with that, 40 feet of crossed industries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did, quite a bit. And then, doing videos with that, people seeing the truck parked at the ramp while the boat was out, doing whatever I was doing. And then, I had Jared McMillan on the FLW tour. He had his Ranger with a huge crossed industries, plaster on the side of it, which wasn't cheap, but that was well worth it. That, when you see somebody who's in the top 10 of FLW, who's got your logo 20 feet down the side of his boat, it helps out a lot.
So taking this, you know me, I'm going to look at this from a strategy perspective and rewind and reverse engineer.
Sure.
And I really appreciate this. First of all, I want to thank you for being a part of this whole thing, Chaz. It was really nice of you, and I'm happy that everything came together. So you're talking about celebrity influence within your industry. You're talking about using your Facebook your business page and the interaction. One thing I really liked, I remember one technique you would do is, hey, which do you guys like better? And you'd show two products from your line, and it would just get people talking. And you would jump in, and it would just create these long flows, eyes on the prize. And I was like, damn, this guy really understands what his audience wants to see. I don't use my business page, but I have a personal brand, whereas you straight up are actually kind of, in the background, you're way more of a business brand. And this is something I'm looking at now as a business strategist, because some people go one way, some people go the other, some are 50-50. So I'm learning how to better, fix the person and the business versus which direction they're going. And you have a stellar business brand, dude.
Yeah, and but on the flip side, there's also the personal side. So like, personal page, now I haven't done a whole lot of it over the last couple of months. And to be 100% honest with you, that my social media usage has completely dwindled in the last couple of months, and that has 100% to do with the whole political scene. I can't stand looking at it right now because the whole thing's killing me. From either side of the spectrum, I don't want to hear about it. I just want to go fishing. I'm sure a lot of other people do. Right.
I got you.
So, with that being said, that is with the personal brand, if you will, and also the business brand. A lot of my personal interactions have, actually led directly to sales on the business side, right? Because of what goes on within the background. Because they understand that behind the business is actual approachable person, rather than
Right.
some Johnny Morris that's hiding behind his empire of monopoly that he's trying to build with BPS Cabela's and so on and so forth. So
Yeah. I wanna kind of wrangle this in just a little bit, because you've got really, really great advice for that type of business. And I want to pluck out of it what Ralph might be able to use out of what you've just said, in not necessarily building, a bass boat business kind of thing, but just his, his own, the resume writing and the YouTube videos that he's been doing for introverts in leadership. So the first thing that I would pull out of what Chaz said, Ralph, is being out there solely on Facebook. Now, you're not necessarily going to do like Facebook lives about resume writing, though you could, right? But you can get conversations going about, what are your plans when you leave the military? Or have you ever thought about getting a federal job, kind of thing? where you can strike up those conversations socially on Facebook that can lead to, a resolution of business, right? There, likewise, advertising, like Chaz was saying, having somebody else that's carrying your logo and advertising for you just gives that extra oomph to your own word of mouth stuff. Because when it's one thing when I say I'm great, it's another thing when Rob says I'm great, right? It's rare. I enjoy it a lot, but it's another thing entirely. So there's another nugget that you can pull out and just go, okay, who can I strategically align with that has a not necessarily a mirror audience, because I think of that as exact opposite, but a collaborative audience that when they're working with people, that they can say, hey, by the way, I've got a good resume writer, right? And we talked a couple days ago about Lisa Hearing, that she's helping vets that are transitioning out get whatever they can get out of their rating. But those are all vets that may be heading into the civilian workforce that are directly your clients. And then you can also use those YouTube videos kind of as a, hey, this isn't specifically, but this is part of that process of transitioning your clients into wherever they want to be. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah,
Well,
Ralph, go ahead.
so yeah, Rob's been great. I'm hooking up with Brandon Harris because that's his focus on military transition to civilian.
Perfect.
And we're finding a spot where I can fit in to one of his packages where if they don't want to do the entrepreneur side, they just want a 9 to 5, then they come to me. Just
Nice.
but just yeah, and Rob's been helping me out a lot on that stuff. Rob's helped me build my confidence and just going for it. So
Yep.
thanks, Rob.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm gonna sit down for an hour in the next couple days, and I'll have a checklist for you. I'll probably just pop it in DYP, but the point is that there are certain specific steps. Gayle nailed it, first of all. Associative audiences, partnerships, and then knowing to quote Chaz, like where the fish are, going where, you want to go where there's actually your target audience specifically that are waiting for you. And there's a few ways we can do this. So don't worry. We're getting deep in the weeds within about 6 days, and it's going to blow your mind. I'm actually excited because once in a while I can crack one out of the park.
Now, one thing I want to point out with like the social media piece and all that stuff too. Now, if you were to run ads on Facebook, right? They actually read the text that you put in there, and you are not allowed to ask a question when you do a paid ad on Facebook. And there's a reason for that, is because questions garner interaction. And they don't want a question ad to garner more interaction than what you're paying for. So that's where organic posts and organic stuff really comes from, is getting a question. Now you want it short and succinct too. I mean, a lot of people, and this is where a lot of people really fail with social media, is they get excited, they know all about their topic, so they want to put all kinds of information in their text, right? And then they put a big long text. What happens when people are going through the newsfeed, because they're sitting on the can, they're doing whatever, they see a lot of words, they read a lot of words at work, they're not going to read a lot of words, right? Somebody asks them a question, they'll be like, oh, I want to see what bullshit somebody else come up with. And then they're going to start looking at the answers, and then they're going to start making their own answers. And that's exactly what they do, right? Which is exactly why Facebook doesn't allow you to ask questions in a paid ad. So
good observation. And yeah, targeted keyword searches are going to be good for Ralph, and then a really sharp customized graphic. So we'll get to that, Ralph. I'll show you some stuff about boosted ads. I'm going to introduce you to like 3 people that are professional gatekeepers that have a giant veteran audience. And Chaz, even, he's getting out. So guess what? He's going to meet some people at Career Transition So maybe he can hook you a couple of names, and then you can reach out and make good with them, because that's where your real audience is career transition offices at bases.
Oh yeah.
All you have to do is give a presentation, dude. You could be the person that gives a video presentation at every single base, and it's not entirely out of the woods to think that large. It absolutely can happen with your credentials.
Yeah.
Okay, Chaz, I know there's something else I want to ask you. I'm just trying to think. It's been a while since we've talked. Oh, that's it. You and I had this conversation very briefly, but honestly, dude, you have this knowledge. You've done this unique achievement in business, and to you, it's no big deal because you're too close to the game. You absolutely need to make a course, consulting calls, or a couple of income streams. And we talked about this before, because people need your advice, dude. They need your business model. They need your guidance. They need to know what things worked, what things didn't work. And you're sitting on a lot of revenue with that knowledge that you have from your achievements.
Was that a question?
I guess not. I guess it's more of a statement. Good call, Gayle.
Hey, Chaz, I got
There's one in there somewhere.
What's up, bro?
I got something. I noticed in your video you said you have partners, right? And so Rob knows this. This is how I first got with Rob. I have a friend. He made a tool, just a device that I've never seen in the military. I worked on aircraft. I worked on equipment, and I saw this tool, and I'm like, holy crap, dude, you got to get this out. But his mentality is like really pessimistic, but I want him to take a lead on it, right? And I'm going on my own way and just waiting for him because he's going through some stuff right now. And I understand, some life challenging stuff, but how do you, like, with your partners, at what level are they as you as a leader? Like, I'm trying to make him the leader of his project, but he wants to partner up with me. Like, at what level are they to you? Like, are they equal to you, or are they, like, you direct them?
Well, okay, so that depends, right? It depends on your relationship with them, and it depends on so on and so forth. Now, I had partners when I started Crossbone Outfitters, so on and so forth. My only current partner right now, full partner, is that lady right there, right? And we have our lanes in the road. She's doing her lane in the road right now. She even during this call, she got a call from a customer and handled it. That's what she stepped out of the room for. And now she's going over product sets for rigid lights, and making sure that everything's good for the website as far as product descriptions, so on and so forth. And she does the bulk of the actual hard work day to day for the behind the scenes stuff. Quite frankly, none of this would work if she wasn't here doing it. Because I can do all the marketing in the world if there's nothing to run the business behind the scenes, which that's what she does. Well, right? So that's what a partnership is. It's knowing that you both have your lanes in the road, and knowing that you both have a responsibility to each other to succeed at your section of the lanes in the road. Now, the reason why I had former partners that are outside of her is because they didn't fully understand that, right? The first partner I had in Crossbone, he kind of had this idea that he was going to front a bunch of money and then have us do all the work for everything, and then
So he was an
dictate
investor,
to
not
us-
a partner mentality.
dictate to us how we were going to do everything, and then we were going to have to ask Mother May I for everything. I wasn't having it. so that partnership didn't end very friendly. But so anyway, I bought him out. The company actually paid him more than what he paid in, just to make sure that he just got out, had some profit off it. And yeah.
I think that's an early stage need for delegation of roles and an org chart. And it's just like I say at the beginning of a business relationship, all have contracts, but you just proved the point. And that was a great point you made about how nobody kind of knew what their job was and nobody knew what their roles were and nobody knew the hierarchy. And that's in a business at your level, dude. You have to have the CEO, you have to have the vice president, you have to have the CFO, and maybe it is good to map out that diagram and say, hey, I want to be the big dog, or we're going to run this like Parliament with 3 presidents, whatever.
Right. So, and when it comes down to how we run it together, it's complete partnership. I mean, it's a marriage, so and we run it just like we run our marriage, which we have a phenomenal one. So,
That's awesome.
It works out. So
was that the only other partner that you had with the business, or have you had other investors / partners doing other jobs besides what? Sorry, Rendell?
So I have, I named a bunch of them. I have a bunch of guys that are helping me out that are 1099 type, I'm going to call them
contributors.
Employees. Yeah. But we have future plans for what we want to do. I'm not going to really fully go over them.
Yeah, no, yet. And don't. I was just asking to say, are you obviously then you are still open to future partnerships with other types of people?
Oh, yeah.
That situation wasn't a matter of nope, we're going to close camps and just run this forward, this way. There's, like you said earlier, you go at it from a different angle. You try different things. One breakdown is not a failure.
No, and even like a breakup of a partnership is not a failure. It's just okay. It doesn't work out with that guy. He doesn't want to pull his load, and you can't make somebody else work when they don't want to. Right. Unfortunately, like I said in the video, there's no real consequence that we can bestow on anybody for not doing their job anymore. There's no UCMJ. There's no chain of command. There's none of that going on. So you can't hold, a charge sheet over somebody's head and say, you will do your job. It's, no, you're not doing your job. Well, I'm not going to pay you anymore, but I'm still stuck holding the water doing your job because that needed to get done. Right.
Yeah.
So you can either complain about it or just get it done and figure out, okay, this is how we need to do it better. And you have to be pretty blunt about it. Straight up, this needs to get done by this point in time because X, Y, or Z, right? Mm-hmm. We need to have this amount of communication for this reason or something like that. Yeah. We still have our hiccups. In the last couple of weeks, she reorganized some parts of the website, right? What that did is it actually changed some of the URLs for some of the ads that I had going out. I didn't know that for a week. So we had broken ads for, a week. Was I not happy about it? Yeah, sure. But, so yeah, that wasn't great, but it didn't stop our business from working. We were still selling stuff. We were still doing work. But okay, so now we have to go back and be like, okay, when you do this, we need to make sure that we're communicating about X, Y, or Z, right?
Yeah.
I got to jump off, guys. Thank you so much. Chaz, great seeing you. Ralph, Gayle, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks.
Rob,
Thanks for being
enjoy
here,
San
Rob.
Diego.
Oh yeah. See you guys.
Awesome. So that's a really good point, actually, that every breakdown is an opportunity to clarify communication standards or channels or what needs to be delivered and how it should be received.
Mhm.
Right? Excellent stuff. Ralph, any more questions? I mean, we still have 25 minutes to chat, guys.
No, I really like that part about the partnership. Like, be blunt. Um, I guess even though he's the one who created the project and he's sitting on a gold mine, but not really being motivated about, and I'm trying to. It sucks because I gotta keep pushing him and pushing him. I said, dude, you're sitting in a gold mine. You're losing opportunity here. And then this is the whole reason why we went to Rob, But I know he's going through some life challenging stuff right now, and maybe that's why he's being pessimistic. But I guess sometimes you just gotta let them be. I don't. That's
Well, you know
one of the
what?
thing.
That's one way to do it, but if I may, in my experience as a coach and being coached in the past, um, one, the communication needs to be clear. And this, from what you've said, just this little bit of what you said about this person seems to me like they want something and they don't know how to get there. So they want you to take the lead so that they can watch and see how it goes, right? But bad time in life aside, and maybe when it's tying itself up, you can create a relationship with this person where you go, okay, look, on Monday, we're going to talk for half an hour about what it is that's the next right thing to do, the next step. You'll have Wednesday to do that and report to me. If you don't report to me by 4 o'clock on Wednesday, I'll be reaching out to you, get a progress report, and then give you the next right thing to do. Right? So that not only trains him and experientially walking through what needs to be done for that project with guidance, it gives short time periods so that nothing goes off the rails for a week, right? And comes back to, but you're not doing these things for them. You're just that timekeeper. Okay? This is what you got to go do. Do that, come back to me, and I'll give you the next piece. And if I don't hear from you for 48 hours, I'm going to reach out to you and give you the next piece. This better be done, right? And that kind of can help move them along. They're still the leader. They're still reaping mining that mountain of gold that they're sitting on. And it takes a few minutes out of your time each week to support them in that, right? Does that make sense? Now, that could create an entirely new kind of career for you, just being an accountability coach. What's your next right thing to do? But it, depends on where you land with it or how it lands
Yeah,
on
because
you.
I knew this guy when I was going to college in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's in Las Vegas now. I'm in California now, and he did reach out to me like, hey, because we were like thinking about a business niche, and he's like, hey, I created something. Um, let's I want you to be my partner. Because one, I'm a veteran, and as a veteran business, you have all these other benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to take advantage of that, and then we found out that I have to be 51% owner. But we're trying to write it to where he's still the representative of it, and financially we can, because of his idea, I was willing to take way less than what, than a 50-50. I was willing to take 30. Because for me, I wanted to learn the process of how to do the business.
Mm-hmm.
That was more important for me, not the money side. But I mean, his idea is so valuable that a lot of military guys said, I've never seen this before. I talked to non-disclosure. We did a non-disclosure with a bunch of people that deal with manufacturing type things, and they're like, man, this is from a do-it-yourselfer to a professional. And he said, I would buy one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, what are you waiting for? I was willing to to buy him out. Just I said I offered to, like, yeah, I give you this much, and then if and when it gets successful, then you get royalties off of it. But he wanted to be a part of it, and what's bothering me is like just the stuff he's going through right now. And I understand it's really hard to go through what he's going through right now. Like his view and his mindset is not there because of this life event that he's going through. So that's my concern, and I don't want to leave him behind because he's a friend. But in a business sense, it's like,
let me
Well,
ask you
take it this way,
Go ahead,
real quick.
Chaz.
This is the way I would look at it. So we're talking about a business thing that he's never done before, right?
Yeah.
You were an airframer, right?
I was a weapons loader, but we took care of the airframes for the aircraft. Yes.
Okay. So you're a weapons loader. So you have a brand new airman that just showed up. Would you just tell him to go load up the airframe? Or,
No, we would train them, of course.
Put some Mark 82s on a A10.
Right.
Right.
We would train them. We would make sure they're qualified, and that whole process.
Right.
Getting qualified. But no, I wouldn't.
And
that's
you would
kind of the
supervise
point.
what you're saying.
Right. You would supervise the whole thing, right? Or you get a brand new lieutenant in. You as well as I know. Yeah, that dude may be in charge. He's getting paid more. But guess who's got to be? Guess who's got to be holding that lieutenant's hand? Right. Exactly. So you got to. I would approach it from that kind of thought process. Is
okay.
He's got all this other stuff going on. You already know how to be a mentor to people who obviously outrank you, and you don't become a senior master chief without knowing how to do that.
Mhm.
So you have that experience, that knowledge, and that understanding. Then go from there.
Okay, I guess it's just frustrating because it's like, right? And we're going through the process. We go through, all right, let's see where we can get the patent set. Let's see if we got to do a tool and die or just a demonstration. Or, of course, COVID happened. So the demo thing, going out to demos, kind of hard right now, right? So,
right.
But with this time, while this pandemic hopefully goes away or everybody just accepts it, we could be finding and I guess I could be doing it too, like finding the tool and die shops, which he's done. And then he was told, now we're going towards the licensing part, where you get royalties off of the company that built it instead of us doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's kind of geared towards that way because he found out financially, we'd be lucky if we get 3% of what these big tool companies make. But if we sell the license to these big companies and they accept it, then he said we get royalties for whatever they sell. So it's kind of looking at it at that angle now. But I'm just worried that his fire might go out,
Then what would you do with an airman whose fire was going out?
Depends on the troop. If they were good troops, I'd be like, hey, what's going on? If it was just a lazy troop,
so
then
you know what's going on with this guy. Right.
Right.
So how would you help them through that to get their fire back? It's no different. It's just leadership's leadership. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a uniform or not.
Right. So I guess I just keep in touch with them, keep motivating them. Like I say, let's don't quit on this thing. I know he's going through a lot, and what he's worried about, because what he's going through is once that life-changing event happens for him, he's afraid of owing money to that person. So, so that's why I was willing to take over everything, until he got all that settled, and then he'd be like, "Hey, all right, let's do this." but I think he feels funny about that, and I don't blame him. It's his idea, you know.
Yeah.
So I think he's looking at the financial part of it.
It's understandable.
Let me ask you a quick question, Chaz. With that original partner that you had, right, and the lack of communication that they wanted to give you money and have you guys do the work, right, and not really have to do any of the work. If that had been communicated properly in the beginning, where this guy actually said, "Look, what I'm willing to contribute to this effort is money. I need you guys to do the work and just let me know when you've got profit for me." Would that have shifted that relationship for you? I'm not necessarily asking would you have accepted a partner like that? That might not have been what you were going for, right? But would that have
Well,
made it
actually,
less of a problem in the end?
if it would have only stopped it there, it wouldn't have been a problem at all.
Yeah.
But for him he was trying to step in and try to control everything because it was his initial, investment and all that other stuff.
Okay,
Because
gotcha.
he felt that he could control everything because the money was his. So
Yeah.
he could tell us, okay, this is what we're gonna do. That doesn't work. Well, we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
You know
gotcha.
how many customers we're losing because we don't use PayPal. Well, I'm not touching PayPal. Why? Because their processing fees are too high. Like, well, it's better than zero. It's
Yeah, at least they give you something after the processing fee. Yeah. Okay, so the point that I was basically getting at is that any arrangement can be attained if the communication is in place. Ralph, if you don't necessarily want to be 51% and quote unquote own the company to get the veteran benefit for it, you know, maybe you can on paper have 50% and donate or reinvest 20% back into the business and feel good about, okay, I'm not taking more than I think I want here, and we're doing what needs to be done for the best of the company, right? So don't be shy in like brainstorming and throwing out different situations that might work, right? Because what I was trying to get at there with is if the communication had been clear, that's a viable setup. What broke it down was the guy thinking, "Oh, in addition to giving you money, I get to say how things go," right?
right.
But you get what I'm saying though. There's ways to make it all work out. It's a completely understandable hesitation that your buddy is having. I mean, and that is, that the mindset through this process for, I assume it's him, is going to be a little bit frayed, right? So just hang in there with him because eventually, and it may take up to 2 years, he'll be better. But if you can hold the space with him in the meantime, that might be best for the country.
Yeah, we already have a contract in place. We already agreed the money. I told him 30/70, and he's like, "No, dude, let's do 50/50, and you 51%, I'm 49%. That way you're majority owner." And I'm like, okay. So I mean, he's a real good guy. It's just like I said, this maybe the mindset he's in right now is not ready. But we've been in communication all this time. I'm letting him know. I said, don't quit on your dream, man. I keep telling him that. Don't quit on this. This is a gold mine. Just take care of what you got to take care of, and I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Unfortunately, that seems like the best place to be with all that for right now. Time has got to do its thing, you know, especially if there's legalities involved. Awesome. So, any final thoughts, Chaz?
No, I mean, it's it, they say it takes a village to raise a child. It's the same thing, um, if anybody were to say that they built a company on their own and had no help or made $1 million on without anybody else, they're lying to you. Don't ever be afraid to reach out to guys like Rob. Rob has been a great help to me. He's given me great advice, and guys in the Vetpreneur Council, they have been awesome. Steve McTune, he's been a staunch supporter of us. And fortunately, Gayle, I just met you through this process, but I'm sure that from what our conversations that people reaching out to coaches like you, it's a huge help. It's on the military side, we have mentors, we have leaders, people who help us along the way. And in the entrepreneur side, it's a big, scary world with the sky's the limit on what you can do, what you can't do, and what you can mess up on. Never be afraid to look for that support group, that supporter that's going to help you out. It's done wonders for me. And myself and Randall, we would be kind of spinning around in circles had it not been. The very first person that I ever met kind of in this realm was a guy named Orlando Espinoza down in Miami. And he came into the command I was working at, kind of talking to the service members who were thinking about next job, next thing, and bringing on the entrepreneur side of things. So don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask for help, especially for those of us transitioning. We want to be that we know everything, but I know everything about my current job, and I can mentor the hell out of everybody who's going to replace me. I'm going into a whole new world. So.
Absolutely, that's great advice. And thank you so much for being here, Chaz. It's a slightly different conversation than what Ralph is like specifically looking for, as far as business style. But there's so much that you've shared today that can be applied and that Ralph can take up and run with. So I really want to thank you for being here and for sharing your experience and your perspective on what you're doing. And congratulations on transitioning into entrepreneurship. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, yeah. Thank you for your service, Marine.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care. Bye.